Good morning, boys and girls. So today, for maths, we are going to be looking at money. And this is just a little story about Toby Elephant goes shopping. And when you go shopping, you always need some money. So let's see what happened to him. Right, here it is. So it's Toby Elephant goes shopping. And there he looks very organized. He has a list and he has a bag to carry. So maybe he was sent on his own. Let's see what happens. Toby was very proud to be going shopping on his own for his mummy. He had a list of things to buy, but without looking at the list, he kept saying over and over to himself. So these are the things on the list: a large loaf of bread, a tin of beans, a packet of butter, and a pound of tomatoes. So we don't, just like when we did centimeters, meters, and kilometers, when we measured distance, this is when we measured weight. So a kilogram or grams of tomatoes we use in South Africa. Just like you're going to find out that we don't use the same currency that is called money for the rest of the world as the rest of the world. We have different money, we have different. Some countries use pounds and we use grams and kilograms. Right, so those are the things that Toby's going to buy. On the way to the shop, he met Dolly Rhino, who talked and talked and talked about her birthday party the following Saturday. "Do come," said Dolly. "Don't forget." "Oh, thank you very much, Dolly," said Toby. He nearly forgot what he had to buy. But he has his list, but he's trying to remember it. And he needs to be responsible because his mom has sent him on his own, maybe for the first time, because it said that he was very proud. And let's see, but now he's got it a little bit mixed up. Was it a loaf of bread, a tin of butter, a packet of beans, and a pound of tomatoes? Oh, can you correct that? Remember, we don't get butter in tins, but you could get beans in a packet that you have to cook. But it was a packet of butter and a tin of beans. Oh, so these are all the things that happened to him on the way. Then he saw an accident between a car and a lorry. What a lot of shouting. "Who is going to pay?" Toby heard somebody say. All right, so here is another elephant. He was driving the car, I think. And this is the truck driver. This looks like a buffalo. And they're shouting at each other. Maybe he stopped suddenly, but it looks like the truck has driven into the back of the car. So we're not sure whose fault it is, but they're shouting at each other as to who is going to pay and fix the cars. Toby couldn't stay to see any more. He had to get the shopping done, he said to himself. A pound of bread, a packet of beans, a tin of butter, and a loaf of tomatoes. Oh my goodness, this list is getting more and more muddled up. Toby arrived at the shop and bought all the things. I'm glad Mummy made the shopping list for me to read, he thought. Oh, and I'm sure his mummy will be glad too, because he got it quite mixed up and he wouldn't have found those things. I don't think he would have found a loaf of tomatoes, definitely not. The bag that Toby had I'll start that again. The bag that Toby had brought was too small and would only hold the bread, the butter, and the tomatoes. So Toby put the beans in his back pocket. Okay, and there's Mrs. Giraffe at the till, and she's paying for her groceries, and I wonder how much those groceries cost. It was bread and butter, tomatoes and beans. So I would say it cost about, I'm going to guess 47 Rand. What do you think? Because the bread is about 12 Rand. Packet of butter, it's about 19 Rand. And tomatoes, also about 15 Rand. Oh, so maybe even, and then a tin of beans still, it's another 10 Rand. So maybe more than 47 Rand, maybe about 55. But I don't know how expensive this shop is. Maybe it's cheaper than Spar, but maybe more expensive than Checkers. We don't know. Okay, so Toby's done the list, and luckily he was able to read it, and he's put it in the bag and the beans in his back pocket. So let's see what happens on his way home. On his way home, he watched for a little while. Tilly Tiger and Boris Bear on roller skates. They look like they're having lots of fun. In fact, he was so interested, he nearly forgot the time. He wished he could roller skate. Now that seems like a lot more fun than going to the shop, even though he was proud at the beginning. But let's hope that he's responsible and he goes home and that his mom doesn't have to worry about him because he's roller skating instead of bringing the shopping home. Oh, it looks like he was responsible. So there are all the things he bought. When he arrived home, he emptied the bag on the table. His mother said, "Where are the beans, Toby?" "Oh dear, I am sorry," said Toby. "I shall have to go back to the shop. I must have left them behind." Oh, can you see what's happened? He was so distracted with the roller skates that he forgot that the shopping didn't fit in the bag and he put the beans behind him. So he did leave them behind, but he left them behind on his behind pocket. That means on his back pocket. Okay, so this is quite a funny little story. And there he goes, back, carrying the bag on his tail, and I hope that he found out as he turned around that his mom saw his beans in his behind pocket and that he didn't leave them behind. So that's a little story of somebody going to the shops with a list, and sometimes it's a good idea to have a list, then you don't buy all kinds of things and waste your money and then not buy the things that you need. All right, so that's just a story to start off the week with buying things at a shop with rands and cents that we use in South Africa.